Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host Ilene, and on this week's program, our guests Rhonda Wilson and Angie Terrell share the story of the Star Center Theater, providing arts, education, and performances for our area's youth and their families. Plus, we get a sneak peek at their 2022-23 season. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our show. I'm delighted to introduce my guest, the talented Rhonda Wilson, founding executive artistic director, Star Center Theater. And Rhonda, it's just a delight to have you here. I'm so pleased. And we go back, we've been friends for years. I'm thinking back to the early days of the Ilene Silverman Show and of the Star Center Theater, and I'm standing there in one of your first opportunities for a building on Waldo Road, and you're introducing to me the concept that you have evolved over these many 21 years of bringing art to children, and now you've expanded, of course, way past that. But I first of all congratulate you. You have built something so special, so awesome, so full of your passion that has drawn in other people and made a tremendous difference in this community.
Well, thank you, Ms. Silverman. Ilene?
Yes,
Ilene,
of
well,
course.
thank you, because we do go way back.
I
And
know.
I just thank you so much for having me back here again, because that was a few years back when we were just this humble little theater program with a few kids, but we had a vision, dream, and passion, and now we're still here growing and hopefully getting better as we go.
Oh, you are. Okay, so kind of how did this all begin for you? Where did you turn the corner to say, this is what I want to do in my life?
Well, as a kid, I always knew I wanted to be involved in the arts and take lessons and do theater, but I grew up in Liberty City in Miami. But for a lot of reasons, my family didn't see that as
That wasn't a path.
That wasn't a path for me. But I said I always wanted to do this. And so when I was in Gainesville, and one summer I was working with the housing authority with some kids, and I said, this is really what I really, really want to do. And I said if I had the opportunity, that's what I was going to do. So I was working as in a social services agency, and I said, I'm going to do it. If I don't do it now, when am I going to do it?
Right.
So I took a leap of faith, and I said, we're gonna do this. So I talked to a friend who had a daycare center and asked me could I use the space, and of course we agreed to kind of work together in the space. And I had about 4 kids, actually from one family. That
was your starting
That was my
point.
starting little troupe, and they fortunately one could do costumes, the mom could do sets, so we had a whole.
Oh, you were a whole team under one roof. Yeah.
And I said, this is really what I want to do. And I said, because I couldn't afford to do it, or I didn't have the opportunity to, I wanted to make sure that other kids had that opportunity. So I worked at the housing authority, and that's what drove me to starting the Star Center and opening it up to any kid that wanted and had a passion that was driven to do it, no matter what the circumstances were.
Right.
And
whether
that's how
it's through scholarships,
sponsorships.
Right.
No money. You know, we didn't have bare bones sets, costumes. We just did it for the love of it, and that's where we started.
Well, and it was my association with you where I learned about what's called the junior performance. I had not encountered that before.
And those came along later, because when I started, I just found scripts. You know, there were little scripts around. Of course, the 3 Little Pigs and fairy tales.
What you could put together.
And then I guess eventually a company saw it as a moneymaker. We need to do these junior Broadway packages and sell it to these children's theaters, because it had become a big thing.
Right.
And you know, so
kids performing for
kids. So they put these junior packages together, which is really great, because we've done a lot of them over the years with our students and performed them for the families and the people in the community. So they're great. So things are out there for these kids.
Well, and now you're in such a wonderful facility, a new home, probably your permanent home that has already grown over the last few years, with a stage, with a backstage, with
seating and
lights and it's so impressive.
To the kindness of strangers.
Well, that's okay, because We all believe, this community stands behind you, believing that the arts is for everyone,
Yes.
enriches this community, and you're raising the next generation of art supporters, whether they're on stage or in the audience. They're coming away from the Star Center Theater saying, this is important.
Yes,
And
I agree.
and theater is just where the magic happens.
Yes. And with the kids, we'll be doing the kids' performances, and then there are parents, kind of staying around. And we said, well, this is good, but we want to reach a broader community. So we started doing shows that incorporated some of the families of the kids, the adult members of the families. So that's how we started with the adult section of our theater.
Of the theater,
Yes.
which you're continuing with.
We're continuing with it.
Right, and you have a outstanding season coming up for 2022-23. We're going to
hope
talk
so.
about that. Oh no, I can see, I know so. And we're going to talk about that next. We're just going to take a quick break.
Okay, thank you.
Stay with us, we'll be right back. We're back talking about the Star Center Theater, and I'm pleased to welcome Angie Terrell, Executive Board Member, Public Relations Officer. And Rhonda, thanks for also being with us again. And tell me about the ages that the Star Center Theater serves.
Well, Star Center, of course, started out as a children's theater, but we knew that we needed to expand and wanted to reach out to the community. So now we serve children. We have the Star Center Children's Theater, and then we have a teen ensemble, but we also have the Spirit of Soul Ensemble, which is our theater that serves adults and family-oriented productions.
Oh, wow. So you have definitely evolved.
Yes.
And my friend Angie, I'm so impressed with this season.
Yes.
Act 1, Act 2,
Mm-hmm.
so appropriate.
Well, I tell you how that came about. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here.
Certainly.
And the way this season was put together, we have great friends that come up to Gainesville, Florida from Orlando just about every weekend. And we want to give shout outs to Christian St. John and also Danny Dog. They come up, and it was Christian, our assistant artistic director,
Right.
that put this season together and decided to give it Act 1 and Act 2.
I'm impressed. I love it. And there are so many good performances.
We're
As you said,
excited.
and you've incorporated children and adults and families. Okay, share with us some of the highlights.
Well, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blues. So I want to be intentional about what we present. And so there's something for everybody. That starts out with the kids doing Sister Act Junior in September, is our first performance of the new season. Also, following that, we have Matilda, which is all ages. They're kids. Of course, it's centered around Matilda.
Right.
Then we have closing the year out is Ain't Misbehaving.
Oh, that's so fun.
I'm excited about some of the new things that we have.
Yeah.
And could we just go back to
Yeah.
Misbehaving real quickly?
Sure.
We're really happy to announce that Dr. Elizabeth Graham has decided
Yes,
that she would
yes.
serve as our consultant as well as help with directing that show.
That is
so we're thrilled
outstanding.
about that.
Yes, you should be. That's
We are.
wonderful.
I mean, so Ain't Misbehaving is usually a crowd favorite, and that's a
true.
favorite. And I'm excited about some of the new things that we're presenting this season.
I can see the thought that goes into selecting these performances. Go on. Yes.
A drama called The House That Will Not Stand, which centers around free women of color pre-Civil War that lived free because they were in relationships with white men during slavery. So
Right.
they weren't enslaved. And so I'm excited about that show. I saw it in New York, and I said, we got to do this show. Then we're doing a new show that a lot of women empowerment kind of shows. King Liz,
Yeah.
about a woman sports agent. Exciting. Trouble in Mind that just had some Tony nominations. It's just closed on Broadway. We're doing Hello Dolly.
I was going to say yes.
Closing
another
the
song.
closing the
Closing
season
with Hello Dolly.
Hello Dolly, and I'm really excited about that. So we have a lot of good things and a lot for everybody.
You do, and you're focusing on, like you said, women empowerment, inclusion, different aspects that bring thought to the community, that help our community.
Mm-hmm.
Do when theater is at its finest, sometimes it gets the audience to reach in, to lean in, and to come away with a different perspective.
Yes.
And I think your season reflects that opportunity for all of us.
Yes. And so we're excited about it.
And so, how do we get tickets? Do we go on to that website?
You can go to our website.
Okay.
It has ticket information on the website. You have a question, there's a place for you to send in an email and ask questions about the season or about anything, how to
Right.
get involved.
Yes.
Just go to our website, www.starcentertheater.org, or just type in Star Center Theater, it'll take you to a website.
All right.
So we want you to get involved any way you can.
And another way to get involved.
Yes, and
we
you can
almost out of
also-
time, but the newsletter.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to talk about that. Our newsletter has had an overhaul, and it is now called The Constellation. And we're
Perfect.
very happy that Alex Wilkerson has joined our team, and she's in charge of that newsletter. And for those who would like to be a part of that, if you email us at
Just go to the
Right.
website.
Just go to the website, and we're
you
making
will see
all
it
that
there.
information
Yes,
available
indeed.
for our viewers.
Yes.
So lots of ways for us to be involved. And congratulations
Thank you.
on this wonderful season ahead and the energy that you're bringing forward. And stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about the Star Center Theater, and I'm pleased to introduce Angie Terrell, Executive Board Member, Public Relations Officer, and also good friend.
It's good to be with you again, Eileen.
Oh, it's good to have you here. I mean, you're so involved in the community, but the Star Center Theater has held a special place in your heart also.
It has.
And as we've just discussed, a wonderful season coming up, but all these many years, you have been part of outreach to the community, Star Center Theater. That's been one of your missions in a way,
Yes.
to outreach to the community, to be involved, and it set up more and more partnerships. I mean, things have moved forward. So tell us a little about that.
I'm so glad you asked, because you know that is my passion.
I know.
Um,
And it fits in exactly with you and your talents, like with
Yes.
Rhonda.
After getting established with the theater, we felt like we should do some things outside of being on the stage for the community.
Right.
And so our first goal was to kind of reach out to find an educational partner.
Right.
And at the time, I was fine arts facilitator for Caring and Sharing Learning School. I had retired from the school board of Alachua County.
Right.
Thought I was going to go home and sit down. Didn't happen.
No, never.
But my good friends, Verna Johnson, who I'd worked at Littlewood with,
Right.
and her husband, Dr. Johnson, who was a great professor at UF, they decided to open a school. Well, they have been in existence almost as long as Star Center.
Yes.
But when I retired, they called me up and said they were missing a piece at their school, which was the fine arts.
Right.
And they asked me if I would come and set up an after-school program where the kids could be engaged and involved in the arts, and so I did. So after being there a year before we decided to start this outreach program, I talked with Rhonda, and we thought that they would make great partners.
This is a great partnership. It still
And
is
so
a team.
we've been partnering now since 2017. And the way we started our partnership with the University of Florida, where kids in Alachua County get to grace the stage of the Phillips
To
Performing
be
Arts
on
Center.
the Phillips Center stage.
Yes,
That's
and
pretty
we
awesome.
get to do it twice a year, in the fall and in the
spring.
spring. And so what happened was we had partnered together to do The Lion King. And of course we
That was
didn't
your
have
first.
funds, and we were able to get the MLK Center over on Waldo Road. And so we hadn't invited Matt Cox, but somehow he heard about it and he came.
Right. With,
And at the end of that performance, this guy kept standing around, and finally he came up to me.
That's
He said
Angie.
it was an absolutely outstanding show. He says, but you need a real stage to put it on.
yes.
And so we got to meet with him, and we started planning and scheming, and the next thing that I know is we became their educational partners, and
Right.
they have been sponsoring us since that time.
All the time, through
where
many
we bring-
years.
Through many years, where we bring kids to their stage, and of course we do the rehearsals and everything at Star. And we give everybody an opportunity. You know, there are so many kids that are fortunate. They get private lessons and
Right.
go to dance studios. And then there's that other group of students that are not so fortunate but still deserves the opportunity.
Yes, and have talent.
Have
That
lots
maybe
of
if you
talent.
weren't there to nurture the talent, it would just go
Yes.
undiscovered. And we would be the sadder for it all
Right.
the way around.
Right. So this was our first partnership, and we continue
And it
to
still
do
thrives.
it.
You've made
It's
it through
still
COVID
thriving.
and past, and I've
Yes.
been to some of the performances.
Yes.
And it's wonderful to see other kids in the audience, seeing kids on stage going,
Yes.
I could do this too.
Yes. And of course, we had to partner with the Alachua County School Board,
Right.
because we get to bus kids in on a Friday morning show. It's a shorter version of the show. We try to keep them there inside
In a
of an
certain
hour
time
so they
frame.
can get back to their schools.
Right.
So that's an important part. And right before COVID, we had extended ourselves to other counties.
Oh,
In
wow.
2019, we had schools from Brantford County,
Right.
also from Williston. I can't think of
Oh,
that
okay,
county.
yes, but you
and
were
all
bringing
around.
in from
and so I think
often
we had
rural
a
areas.
little over 1,000 kids at the show, because we had 4 counties, including Alachua County, at that
That were
show.
coming in.
And then of course COVID came in, and the next year
I know.
we were not able to do it. So
Things were
we're
down,
building
but
things up again.
you're building it back up.
Yes.
And providing so much opportunity for children where there is not the experience. You know, it just wouldn't happen. They wouldn't have the experience of the arts, and therefore art would not become a part of their life. And as we all agree,
Yes,
it just makes for a richer, fuller existence.
it does.
It
And-
just means so much.
Right, and then we partnered with my good friend Anamika
Oh,
Cronka
right.
Corin.
Yes.
She has her own community orchestra and ensemble. And
And I've heard you perform
yes,
at the Hippodrome opening night.
yes, she started
Yes,
the
yes.
YAS, which is the Young Ensemble Youth Orchestra.
Very
And
well done.
we started the fall of 2021.
Yes,
And
you're
we,
moving forward.
we've had
with that.
1 year, and the kids are doing a great job. She kind of built her orchestra from her students at Caring and Sharing Learning School, because she is the violin teacher there.
So
And
another
so
full
we are
circle.
sort of like a feeder school.
Right.
And of course, other kids from Alachua County are a part
Or
of
part
that.
of it too.
Well,
Oh,
we
I love
started
it.
with about 10 to 12 students last year, and I just looked at the list and had an email from her today.
And it
We're
said-
up to about 17, 18, we're almost up to 20
Congrats.
students, so we're
Oh,
growing.
this is such good information.
Yes.
We're going to take another quick break.
Thank you so
Angie.
much. Okay.
Stay with us. There's more to come. We're talking about the Star Center Theater. And Angie, tell me a little more about other activities happening, particularly in the summer.
Well, we are very excited because we've been able to improve and enlarge our program activities for summer. Now we have 3 different summer camps.
Impressive.
We have the one that we started with, which is Super Smart Summer Camp. And that means it encompasses all of the arts. The kids are engaged in dance, in violin, piano, academics, drumming, as well as
Right.
theater productions. And we ended with a great recital, educational fair, and a theater production on stage.
Oh,
We
what a
added
great
this
chance
summer,
for
yes.
people. Yeah.
We added this summer a dance camp for 2 weeks with our great Alois Waters. And then we ended with what we call the intensive theater camp. And that means those kids prepared themselves and were given preparation to do great things in the arts, like they learned how to put together a podcast.
Yes, I'm
and
impressed
they did,
with that.
They
Yeah.
did professional bios and prepared themselves for New York, because they were going to be doing some professional auditions.
Oh.
And so those summer camps went extremely well, and we're very proud of the progress the kids have made and the progress that we're doing at Star.
Oh, you should be, as a matter of fact. And I know their families are very proud.
They are.
And that brings us to New York, Rhonda.
Yes.
And another great opportunity you provided.
Well, we've been taking the kids to New York, every 2 years, but we went this summer and the kids got a chance to do some master classes. I've touched base. I have friends in New York who are working.
Your connections. Your
My connections. It's all about
Yes.
relationships. So the kids got to do, workshops in dance, auditioning with the song and a monologue, a master class of dance, and then some of them got to do a small one. They were called back to do another round of an audition. So they got the feel of doing a Broadway, being a part of the whole picture of Broadway, of New York, of theater. That was really great. And so we're looking at doing that maybe next year. We'll see.
Right, if you
They
can
go
pull it off.
Pull it off
Right,
again.
right.
And
I
so they were
understand.
excited. The kids were excited. We took over 60 people to New York with us. Yes, it was.
That's
It was
wonderful.
impressive.
My favorite thing, Broadway, New York. So I'm going back and starting over and coming to the Star Center Theater.
Okay,
You can
good.
retrain me. And it's quite special that Rhonda is part of this community. You and I know, as she's received many recognitions, and they're well deserved.
Yes. And if you don't mind, I'd like to
No,
share
no.
some of those.
Please do. Please,
Because
yes,
she never
yes.
toots her own
I
horn,
know.
but-
I know.
But she is well recognized from the national level all the way back down to our little district level here in Gainesville, Florida. She received the National Youth Director of the Year Award. I think that was back in 2019. And she received that from the American Association for Theater Education. And then somebody say Tony Awards.
Yes.
Well, this young lady she was a finalist for the Excellence in Theater Award, and it was presented by the Tony, and I think she did that in
This past year.
yes,
This past year.
2022.
And then a couple of years before.
Yeah, so this was her second.
Congratulations.
This was her second, and then here in our community, she is a woman who makes a difference. You know
Yes, with
that
the Girl Scouts.
That is with the Girl Scouts. We're so proud of her. She's a part of that group, and just her latest award that she received was with
Yes.
the UF alumni. They bestowed upon her the Leadership Award for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and it was presented by the UF alumni. So she is well deserving of all of these awards,
agree.
and there's
And
so
there's
many
many more.
more.
You
But
can-
I just wanted to just highlight those.
And
but
thank
so
you
many
very
more.
much. We can't get it all in. We know
Yes.
that. But and your season, the award you just received, that recognition from UF, your season speaks to that and the thought process you have put into providing the arts to this community and allowing us to experience those words, those inclusion, those opportunities for all of us. And I know we're out of time, but I just think so much of the Star Center
Thank you.
Theater, and it's an honor to be a part of it through our show. And I look forward to being at the Star Center Theater and watching some of the performances. And we invite everyone to do that.
Yeah,
To join
we hope
us
to see
at
you.
the Star Center
Yes.
Theater. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care.